Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah amma ba'd. The question is asking about this hadith here, as you can see on the screen. Now this hadith with this wording has been narrated by two different companions with two different contexts. And we'll look at each one inshallah individually. The first one is on the authority of Anas bin Malik. Anas bin Malik narrates, now this has been reported by Imam Ahmad in his Musnad and Nasa'i in his Sunan. Now this is subject to debate whether it is authentic. Some of the ulama from the Mutaqaddimun, from the time of Salaf, they said that this hadith is not sahih because of the presence of a person called Khalaf ibn Khalifa, and he is weak. So you will find a group of the scholars from the time of the Salaf saying that this hadith is da'if. Others said that it's hasan, others said it's sahih. And Shaykh al-Albani said that it's sahih, especially the fact that it's been narrated from a different route, from a different companion as well. So there is some kind of support to this. So inshallah, hopefully the hadith is authentic. But there are two different contexts. So let's take the first one. The first one is on the authority of Anas bin Malik. Anas bin Malik says that there were a group of Bedouins from the Ansar. They came to the Messenger of Allah ﷺ and they said, Ya Rasulullah, we've got a camel. We cannot control this camel. You know, camels are very big. The owner himself, he cannot control the camel. The owner is the one who spends time with the camel, gives him food, gives it drink, gives it shelter. Normally, there is some kind of reciprocation between animal and man when it comes to that. But even the owner now is saying, listen, I cannot control this camel. Can you please help us in our affairs? So the Messenger of Allah ﷺ says, where is this camel? So they said, this direction. So the Messenger of Allah ﷺ is walking now towards the camel. When the camel sees the Messenger of Allah, Allahu Akbar, look at this. When the camel sees the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, the camel starts walking towards the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. So now they're walking towards each other. The camel to the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. Then the camel, as it gets close to the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, sits down and it bows its head towards the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. Complete submission. Nobody can control this animal. Everybody has tried. But the Messenger of Allah ﷺ hasn't even said anything. The camel just looks at the Messenger of Allah ﷺ and it submits. So the Ansar now are looking at one another and they are saying, هذه بهيمة, this is just an animal. لا توقع. It has got no kind of aql to it. It's got no intellect. تسجد لك, and it's making sujood to you, O Messenger of Allah ﷺ. وَنَحْنُ نَعْقِلْ, and we have intellect. Allah has made us human beings. We've got senses. We've got common sense. فَنَحْنُ أَحَقُّ أَن نَسْجُدَ لَكَ, we have more right to make sujood to you, O Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you know what they did? They started falling into sujood when it comes to one narration. And others have narrated this narration by saying that this is all they said, but they didn't do the action. Now this is a separate issue which I think we've probably talked about before. I definitely dealt with in our classes when it comes to bil jahl and whether a person has an excuse for saying something which might be wrong, even if it is kufr and shirk. That's just the side point. But they said, O Messenger of Allah, let us make sujood to you. In certain narrations they made sujood to him. So then he says this statement, I'm pretty sure we've had this statement before. لا يسلم لبشر أن يسجد لبشر. It is not correct for a human to make sujood to another human. وَلَوْ سَلَهَا لِبَشَرٍ, had it been allowed for a human to make sujood to another human being, لَأَمَرْتُ الْمَرْأَةَ أَن تَسْجُدْ لِزَوْجِهَا, I would have commanded the wife to make sujood to her husband, مِنْ عِذَمِ حَقِّهِ عَلَيْهَا, because of the extreme rights, the importance of this family dynamic that he has over her. وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ, he carries on sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by him in whose hand is my soul, لو كان من قدمه إلى مرفق رأسه قرحة, had he had an injury from head to toe, basically the Messenger was saying, from head to toe, had he had an injury and it is pouring forth with blood, بالقيء والسديد, with pus and with liquid, etc., and then she tries to wipe it off for him. Basically, she's looking after him, to the point. Now the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has used the word فَلَحَسَتْهُ, meaning she's actually now licking it and sucking it off. Now we've seen this you might think that this is disgusting, but you have to remember at the time of the Messenger of Allah, they didn't have tissues and padding and those kind of things readily available. And this actually happened to the Messenger of Allah. The Messenger of Allah has his own armour engraved into his cheek. It's pierced into his cheek and below his noble lips. So he's pouring forth with blood. There's nothing there, there's no water, he's wearing armor. So what the companions started to do, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, they started sucking it off from his cheek, from his skin directly. So now a person might look at this and think, oh well, this is not a really nice thing to say, but this is what was available at that time. But also the ulama have also given the explanation that the Messenger of Allah is not asking for the woman to do this. This is now an example of her rights, or his rights over her, and the obedience that she should have towards him, and the sincerity and the honesty and the clarity and the relationship and the companionship and the love and all these other things. So he said, had she now begun to clean off for him his injury, which he's got from head to toe, ما أدت حقه, she would still not have given or fulfilled all of the rights that he has over her. This is the first narration. The second narration is on the authority of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu. A man comes to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he says, "O Messenger of Allah, my daughter is refusing to get married." So he says, okay, let's speak to your daughter. So now the daughter comes, or he brought his daughter with her. That's what the narration actually says. So he says to the daughter, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Ati'i abak." I mean, ati'i abak meaning obey your father. What's wrong with you? Why don't you want to get married? So she says, "Walladhi ba'athaka bilhaq." The one, I swear by the one who has sent you with the truth. La atazawwaj, I will not get married. Hatta tukhbirni ma haqqu zawj ala zawjati, until you tell me the rights of the husband over the wife. So he says, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the rights of the husband over the wife is this narration here. لو كانت له قرحة, had he had an injury to his body, فلحستها, and then she's basically taking it off him to the point that she's probably even just using her mouth to make sure that he is comforted, taking off the injury, making him feel calm, making him feel a bit more relaxed, trying to repel the blood that is coming out, etc. ما أدت حقه, you would not have given your husband his rights. Now this narration, again, some of the ulama have said it is weak because of the presence of a person called Ja'far ibn Awn, and some of the ulama have said that this person is not reliable. However, with all of the chains of narrations put together, Shaykh al-Albani as well as others from the ulama have said that this hadith is acceptable and is sahih, and inshallah, hopefully this is the correct conclusion when it comes to the classification of this narration that we see on the screen here. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes us of the people of hadith, and that He makes us of the people who follow Him upon goodness. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد.